barely won on penalties. But ever since then, he's gone from strength to strength. And I really feel like this is his tournament.
Yeah, the further into a tournament, it just seems the more scary that MsDossary gets. Every single round, he seems to get stronger and stronger. But this is the biggest test for him so far in the tournament here at FUT Champs Cup Stage 2. Is the Saudi Arabian going to repeat history once again and take home the second major of the year? Will this be the big win that the German Niklas Razak needs to get on his belt?
And this side of the bracket on the Xbox is absolutely stacked as well. When you look at that other quarter-final that's there, and the fact you've got Lyrics and Tex waiting to kind of fill this semi-final, there is not an easy route here. Whoever is able to get to the console final or even win this console, we have to look at this bracket and say, look, this is one of the hardest brackets we've seen in the history of FIFA.
Well, it's going to be Dossary who has possession from the start of this game, and some slick pass and move play from him, something we fully expect to see, a real staple of the Saudi Arabians' way of playing FIFA. And for Niklas Razak, a real opportunity here just to remind everyone how good he is.
Oh.
But a mistake there from Dossary might allow Niklas Razak to have the first big opportunity of the game. It's a 3v2 situation. Eusebio, a little bit selfish, but finally gets the pass off. And it's a mistake from Dossary that Niklas Razak takes advantage of. And it will be the German who takes the lead.
And we certainly are seeing more mistakes from Dossary in FIFA 20 than we have in FIFA 19, FIFA 18. Although at the start of FIFA 19, I guess you could say that Dossary made a few mistakes as well. So maybe he's just not quite adapting as quick. But that is just sloppy, to be honest, from him. Decent on the other end for Razak, though, really taking that opportunity and seizing that chance. Sometimes when you're through like that, when you're gifted that chance, you will just kind of hit it randomly, just hope for the shot, hope to be able to put it away. But instead, he was patient, he looked across, found the pass, and Pele was able to get the finish.
Yeah, I thought he'd left it slightly too long there when he was bursting into the box with the Eusebio, but finally managed to find that pass to the man who was unmarked, and having turned back inside his man, it was the simplest of finishes for Niklas Razak. So then, we have an opening goal in the first 9 minutes of our Xbox quarter-final here. And the thing I love about that is sometimes you just need that goal to put a bit of energy into these ties with so much on the line. And Remaster's spot on the line as well. But again, Dossary giving the ball away there with one of his central midfielders, and Niklas Razak looking to burst immediately up to the other end.
That's because Niklas Razak is pressuring in the right areas as well. He's forcing these mistakes out of Dossary nice and early, letting him know that he's not just going to allow Dossary to run this game, to keep that possession, to feel comfortable on the ball. It was a very closely contested game between these two in this tournament already. It was a 5-4 victory for MsDossary. So I wonder how much from that game Niklas Razak would have learned and implemented into his strategy coming into this one.
It's a great indicator of how close this game should be as well. Here's Ronaldo into Hullet. Dossary starting to flow, and Hullet is going to finish off a wonderful move from MsDossary. And having made a mistake, to let that lead slip, Dossary shows us just how good he is.
That's how everyone wants to score a goal in FIFA. You want to be able to play that 1-2, you see that run from Hullet and you think, oh, okay, I'll play the through ball. How many times, though, does that through ball not work? The defender just cuts it out. But a player like Hullet can just steam forward. He's got the physicality to shrug off the defender as well, and is why, in my opinion, Hullet is the core part of any of these teams.
Fantastic move there from MsDossary. And we talk a lot about mentality and concentration levels, etc., with a lot of players who maybe we haven't had in these situations and deep into the tournaments. And we've seen a little bit earlier today with Dossary, though, it's not a question. We know what he can do. And for Niklas Razak, he's got to bounce back now, and R9 is trying to instigate a little bit of fire back into the German, and Pele is putting a bit of pressure back onto MsDossary here after conceding that goal. And it goes across to Vieira. Beautiful first-time ball, trying to find Eusebio there. Both players looking dangerous in attack.
Dangerous in attack, but at least Razak knows when to give up the attack. He did just recycle the play as soon as he saw Dossary was marking out that left-hand side. Okay, it didn't pay off in the end because he couldn't get that risky pass. But both of these players are very short of how they want to attack their opposition, and this is what I expected because they know each other so well. You've got to remember they were teammates last season. They would have played and practiced against one another time and time again. And now they find themselves not together after leaving Rogue. Of course, Dossary now with Tundra Esports. And I wonder whether he can show what we saw from Tech's last event, that undefeated tournament, which finished off with a trophy, a lifted trophy. Kind of dropped it, but it's okay. We've all forgotten about that, haven't we?
I'm sure Tex would love to add a second trophy. However, one of these two players is going to have something to say about that, guaranteed. If Tex manages to come through that tie against Lyrics, a tough match for him to go against. But one thing I've noticed here is an interesting personnel selection from MsDossary, using Carlos Alberto in the centre-back position there. Interesting to see if that's the 87 rated centre-back playing on full cam, or if it is the full-back version, just playing slightly off-cam in there. Dossary does love those players to have the ability to turn on the ball and find a pass, even in those centre-back positions. You can see that from his midfield choices, but Nicholas Razek is making some good choices here as Dossary. Oh, it's a mess at the back, and oh, he can't take advantage, but yes, he can. Again, fortunate for the ball to fall back to him in that position, but Razek will take advantage. 2-1 now.
Yeah, the ball was just here, there, and everywhere, but as soon as you get into a situation where it starts bumbling around, R9 is always going to be waiting just to pounce on it. Dossary just couldn't get it away from his feet, couldn't clear his lines. And Razek taking full advantage. You could argue 2 mistakes from Dossary. Okay, that one, there was less he could have done about it than the first. But still, Razek hasn't really had to do much to get this lead, to get these 2 goals. It's not been him doing creative things or showing his dominance. It's instead just been a couple of mistakes at the back.
So Dossary managed to bounce back pretty quickly last time that he fell behind. Let's see if he can do the same again here. Again, patiently building, and then you're going to see that little injection of pace once he finds that ball into one of those forward players. Here's Cruyff. Ball roll away from one, little flick behind. It's Hullet, the goal scorer, who's found his way towards goal again! And it's good from Dossary, but it's even better from the goalkeeper.
And Dossary's just going to be saying, well, where's my rub of the green? Why didn't that fall to Cruyff? Cruyff was inches away from it, just didn't lock on. Yashin had done enough in the end as Razek tries to smash it down the other side of the field quickly to a Cruyff of his own. But in the end, it just goes out for a throw-in as Dossary can regain possession. He looks so scary on the ball, does Dossary. His dribbling technique is phenomenal. He's just an all-round good FIFA player. It doesn't matter which FIFA game he's playing. I'm sure he could go back and play any of the others, and he'd still dominate.
Well, he's a very aesthetically pleasing player, and Cruyff has scored an aesthetically pleasing goal. Dossary is looking amazing when he's moving towards goal. And Nicholas Razek really doesn't have an answer. 2 mistakes from Dossary means it's at 2-2. But this is what you want to see from Dossary. This is a scary-looking Dossary.
Yeah, if Dossary can tighten up at the back, then he's showing all of the possibilities of him actually taking this one relatively comfortably. Razek doesn't seem to have an answer for these through balls that Dossary's trying in that final third. But still plenty of time left. Another half, of course, in this first leg. It is a 2-legged tie. And as a reminder, the winner here will guarantee themselves into FUT Champions Cup Stage 3. The top 4 competitors from both consoles are invited back from each tournament to the next.
So there's the half-time whistle, and what a first half that was of our first leg. 2-2 at the break. And I think the happier of the 2 players is probably going to be Nicholas Razek. And the half-time whistle going. 3 shots apiece, 62% possession for Dossary, but it hasn't been a slow-paced game from him. He's been very direct, looking to create chances, and as I said, those 2 mistakes really are the reason that the scoreline is the way it is.
Yeah, the first one was huge, and I'm sure that Dossary is going to be kicking himself for that one. The second one, you could argue, you could try and just hoof it out and clear your lines, but we know the majority of pro players don't go for that route. They're not trying to just clear it, because then it gives another opportunity to your opponent. It's very much you attack, you attack, and you have to play that defensive game. If you just give too many opportunities away, then you are probably going to lose the game if you are just quickly clearing out every time, because you'll never get possession of your own. So that's why a lot of players try and slowly play it out from the back, keep that possession, and then get an attack of their own on the go.
So second half underway then. And such a mouth-watering potential Xbox semi-final we have. Like I mentioned, the winner of Lyrics or Fnatic Tex is going to be waiting for the winner of this time on the other side of the bracket. I mean, there's some amazing players still left on the Xbox as well. You have Diogo, you have Vinny, you have Gabo, and you have Gabriel as well. So a lot of big names still left in the tournament on that side.
Although, in comparison to this side of the bracket, that side looks very winnable for Diogo. It's a huge chance for him to get to a console final.
Chance here for R9, goes for the finesse towards the top corner. Not quite enough power or whip on that one from the Brazilian. Now again, you can see Nicholas Razek looking to release the ball quickly and directly from that goal kick and almost caught out Dossary. Will just be a goal kick though.
It was quite a cool whip from R9, but one of the things I've noticed from both of these players is they do so well at trying to show the attacker onto the weak foot. However, the trouble you have is now a lot of these teams are building their teams around players that have a 5-star weak foot. So you can't really usher them onto either side. You can try and manipulate the pitch into a way where you think that their weaker foot is going to be less of a problem. But the fact they can memorize who has that 5-star weak foot, who has a weak foot I can actually expose, really impresses me, tournament in, tournament out.
Well, here's Razek then. You have to say at the start of this second half, he's managed to maintain possession a little bit better. He's managed to build towards goal a little bit more effectively. And Eusebio's found R9 onto that right foot. Oh, it's such a surprise to not see the net bulging in that kind of situation.
And that is the scary factor of the weak foot. Razek just had to kind of sit there and watch and hope that it did go wide. Oh, sorry, Dossary had to sit and watch that it did go wide. Now he can attack himself here. But starting to see a better sign from Razek. He's warming up a little bit in this game.
Well, Dossary's found Ruud Gullit in a bit of space, and Johan Cruyff takes that one quickly, gets the ball back as Gullit takes it on that left foot. And again, maybe just not the accuracy he was looking for, the pressure from the defender enough to make sure that Ruud Gullit didn't have a clean strike at goal.
I always appreciate a shot from Gullit, though. He does have an absolute rifle on him. However, we have seen that finesse shots from the edge of the box aren't as consistent anymore. I'd rather see him put his laces through it, but I think at that point he knew that there was defenders swarming in, so he just kind of went with whatever he could at first.
Razek's managed to find his way in behind the fullback Roberto Carlos, and Eusebio tries to slide it into R9. So Dossary survives that attack, but given away here by Dossary, and this is what cost him both of his goals in that first half.
And even in the Swiss stage, we saw a couple of mistakes from Dossary as well. I remember the penalty shootout victory for him against Kalen. There's a few times where I was like, this isn't the Dossary I'm used to seeing. This isn't the Dossary that is so consistent, so solid, so focused. And I don't know whether it's down to maybe just a lack of focus or maybe just trying to take a couple more risks. Certainly finds himself tying this game because of those mistakes. As now Nicholas Razek is desperately just trying to break down this wall of Dossary.
Pele goes back inside here. Nicholas Razek being patient. Finally, a little bit of space. Gets it back onto that left foot. Unfortunately, the linesman's flag has gone up to Dossary again with that offside trap, just pressing into midfield and trying to make sure that that space in behind is catching those players offside.
15 minutes left, though. And I think that Nicholas Razek has done enough in this game to kind of say to Dossary, look, if you do make a mistake, I'm going to be there and I'm going to be waiting. However, if Dossary can tighten up at the back, he doesn't make those mistakes, Nicholas Razek, I think, will start to worry about the lack of chances he's realistically being able to create. There has been some, the driven passes into the striker, being able to turn with Ronaldo. But even then, it wasn't a clear-cut chance.
It was a clear strike at goal.
And Nicholas Razek is one of these players who usually carves his opponents apart. He hasn't been able to do that against Dossary.
Mbappe fresh on the pitch here for Dossary. A few changes in personnel. Don't expect to see anything tactically changing here between the two with such a scoreline still intact. And here comes Dossary again, feeds that one round the corner. Pele, a beautiful scoop turn from him, and Laurent Blanc, if he's an inch shorter there and his legs a hairbreadth shorter, I think that might have found the striker in the middle of the box.
I wonder whether Razek now will notice that Dossary's kind of been dominating this possession and might just try and close this game out with 2-2. We'll wait for this final attack. Because even though Dossary has had the majority of possession, you could say that he hasn't created enough chances because of it. He's kind of just got to the edge of the box and then dilly-dallied around a little bit. And then Razek's won the ball back, but then hasn't done anything with the counter-attack either. We need to see more from both players, I think, in the second leg if they are going to be able to get a clear lead in this quarter-final. It's interesting.
Clean up the pieces there from what was a mess. A couple of players getting involved. As we approach full time here in the first leg, is there going to be a winner? Is there going to be one player taking an advantage into that second leg? Dossary has possession. Will he wait? See this clock down. So he has the final attack of the game.
You can see the pass isn't really on to his strikers at the moment. Neither his wingers. They're all being covered by the fullbacks, by the centre-backs, so he has to keep going back and forth until those players are dragged out of position.
Well, here comes Dossary. Dyke steps in before any danger really rears its head. And now there is time left on the clock here for Nicolas Razek to spring an attack, and spring an attack he's trying to do. Can Mbappe keep that in? What a touch that is from the Frenchman. Mbappe can't get around Carlos Alberto, though. And with that opportunity slipping through his fingers, it means at the half-time break, full-time here, of course, in that game, it will be all tied up at 2-2, nothing to separate the two.
And I'd say that that final attack kind of shows everything about Nicolas Razek's game. He had great vision, saw that ball on the left-hand side, and Mbappe takes it down, but then it just falls apart. The attack doesn't really end up in anything.
Well, good news. Sorry to cut you off there, Dan, because we have the hashtag reveal here for our Turtle Beach competition. Use the hashtag SoundTactics on Twitter to get in touch, and of course drop a follow to Turtle Beach at Turtle Beach to be in with a chance of winning one of those beautiful headsets you see on the head of Nicolas Razek. So sorry to cut you off.
Is that like tactical sounds, or is it like a northerner would say, like sound tactics, like good tactics?
Whatever it is, whatever your definition of it is, an interpretation, that's what happens. I think it's like one of those headsets.
It's like tactical sound. That's what you can get if you have a Turtle Beach headset. I'd say that Dossary is looking the better player in this at the moment, but Nicolas Razek has done enough to keep himself in it, and as long as you're within a goal at all times, you've always got a chance to actually steal this one. But leg number 2, we'll see whether there's any changes, because I'd like to see something different from Razek, as he looks a little bit nervous.
I think he's one of those players. He always looks a little bit nervous, I think, when he's on this stage. And sometimes, you know, nerves are a good thing. Nerves mean that you care. Nerves show that you realise how much is on the line, and sometimes nerves keep you focused as well in those situations. We'll have to see if that does come into play. But, I mean, there's one player, I think, in the entire FIFA community that you'd say doesn't suffer from nerves. It's that man there, MsDossary. He just seems so cool at all times.
And then he's got Lev Vinkin behind him as well. Maybe that's why Nicolas Razek is nervous. I'd be nervous if I'm looking across and seeing Lev Vinkin sat there.
That's true.
In my
intimidating
corner.
presence.
But for Dossary, as long as he doesn't make mistakes, he should win this. If it goes exactly the same way as what we just saw in that first leg.
The second half of this game, the second leg, of course, is underway. There's Nicolas Razek again, looking for that early ball in, but behind the fullbacks. You do feel he's going to keep trying that. He only has to work once. We saw right at the end of that first leg, the touch from Mbappe took him inside and created an opportunity for him to get towards goal. Certainly something you're looking to see Nicolas Razek implement into his game as he moves forward. But speaking of moving forward, here comes Dossary at the start of this game. Looking to keep that impressive flow into his attacks that we saw for those 2 goals in the first leg. Here's Cruyff, he's going to attack that space. Cruyff tries to play it back inside, gets fortunate, and Van Dijk gets across. What a stretch.
Van Dijk, Blanc, they've all been doing it now, just stretching across to stop those cutbacks. But you can clearly see the game plan for Dossary. Hit that left-hand side, get into a position when you can play the cutback, hope that someone's waiting in the middle, And hope the likes of Van Dijk and Blanc aren't cutting it out so successfully.
Well, Nicolas Razek has found R9 Ronaldo in space! And he just does not miss from those situations.
And just like that, Razek has the lead yet again. Although this time, no real mistakes. Created from his own vision. Spotted out R9. And now we're going to have to see whether and how Dossary responds, because he's been able to respond very successfully in the first leg. And as you said, one of these players who just never really is fazed by the moment or the situation. We saw him exit the tournament relatively early last time around in Bucharest. I'm sure he'd like to book himself a place in those semi-finals so he doesn't have to play in those qualifiers.
Well, Dossary's looking to answer back almost immediately and goes near post, and unfortunately for him, the referee's going to call that one back for a free kick, but I was almost taken by surprise with the amount of space that Nicolas Razek found R9 in. Very un-Dossary-like to leave a player unmarked quite like that towards the back post now this ball, Roberto Carlos. Well, what looks like 3 feet of him in this game manages to get up and win the header.
Well, he's won the ball back, though, in a very dangerous area.
Inside the box again, and Nicolas Razek almost finds R9.
And honestly, Razek really finding a lot of success on these wings at the moment. Oh, my goodness.
Strikes the crossbar, and I think it's still rattling. The power on that shot from Ronaldo. Shakes the crossbar and shakes Dossary as well. Here's Zidane. Oh, almost found that ball through to Neymar.
Now, are we going to see that quick through ball again? No, Cruyff is going to be too far back, so I imagine Razek's going to play this across the park and then look for the ball out to Pele on the left. He does see it, he spots the run. The defender was in a position to stop it. But he just switches out, goes the other side. He's noticing that Dossary is bringing these fullbacks quite aggressively high up the pitch.
Blanc had to make that.
Oh,
no! Dossary has thrown it away! And you cannot expect to win an Xbox quarterfinal against a player of the caliber of Nicolas Razek if you just give him Christmas presents early.
It's another mistake. The second big mistake in this series. And now Razek finds himself with a 2-goal advantage. And this comeback is getting harder now for Dossary, because even if he does find a couple more goals, what's stopping another mistake coming out of him? And how well can Razek close out a game at this point? You don't really go defensive. You don't start eating away at the time this early on in a game, especially if you've only got a 1-goal advantage. But if you have the 2-goal advantage, you start to think about it.
Well, it steps in here, and I said that Dossary doesn't get shaken. But I think he's going to be incredibly disappointed with himself and the way, like I said, he's just gifted these goals to Nicolas Razek. Here's Cruyff then, maybe a chance to strike, gets it on that left foot. I saw that yellow arrow light up there, maybe going for a green time finish to get a little bit of extra power and accuracy, but just not effective in that particular attempt.
With all the space that Nicolas Razek has been able to find on these wings just like this, okay, Carlos gets back on this instance and it gives away a throw-in. Dossary is going to have to come at Razek now, and he is going to have to encourage more players to go forward. Therefore, there will be more gaps, and Razek is going to have chances. This has worked out perfectly for Razek. With how he just wants to penetrate the defence by sending those through balls down the wing, I think he's going to get a lot of chances before Dossary has the opportunity to equalise.
I'd like to see what width Dossary is playing with in defence as well. I feel like he's playing quite narrow because it's, just say, Cruyff and Pele on either flank are having a lot of space, and Carlos is having to come across from quite a narrow starting position, which is allowing Nicolas Razek to advance up the pitch and kind of get that 1v1 situation with the fullback. And Dossary, just a heavy touch from him there. Gives the ball back to Nicolas Razek. With just a few minutes or so left to half-time. That could be the end of this half, and Razek going in with a 2-goal lead.
And I think if Razek has learned anything from his competitor here is not to rush anything out of defence. Don't make passes when you don't need to make them. Just take that extra touch, wait to see where someone is, look on that radar. If you have to make a long ball, make a long ball. You'd rather give the ball away in your opponent's half rather than your own final third.
Well, Dossari's found himself inside the 18-yard box. Pele, again, cannot get away from the attentions of Virgil van Dijk. Hullet tries to play it around the corner, gets a little bit fortunate. Brilliant from Dossary, even better from Yashi.
Oh my God, Razek, just calm down. You're giving chances after chance to Dossary here. Gotta be so much more careful. I said he needs to learn from Dasari's mistakes.
Well, look at the amount of players in the box here for Nicolas Razek. If he wants to go towards goal, he had a real opportunity to do so. Carlos caught forward again. This time he just slows things down, and Carlos Alberto will get the ball back to Cruyff, and Roberto Carlos will finally win the ball, but Dossary again has lost possession in such a dangerous area. Nicolas Razek, at the end of this first half, in the second leg, might have a chance to make it 3. Eusebio goes for goal. Dossary hangs on, and you can see him scratching his head. I think he's thinking, what am I doing?
So uncharacteristic of Dossary as well. Usually a man of such consistency, one of the greatest players to bless our screens in terms of FIFA gameplay. And okay, there is still time. And I know I said some similar things in his opening game of the tournament when he was playing a little bit questionable. He was having these mistakes here or there, and maybe it's just first game of the day kind of jitters. But Razek is going to be more than happy to have this 2-goal advantage, but he also needs to be careful as well. There was times he was passing. It was a let-off that Yashin made that save.
There's been a few opportunities for Dossary to score. He's got behind the fullback a few times. He got inside the 18-yard box a few times. And he's been close. It's just kind of that final piece of the puzzle hasn't quite come together. But Nicolas Razek here has only got to survive 45 minutes of MsDossary in order to go through into an Xbox semi-final. Dossary looking concerned. You can see it on his player cam here. Because his tournament, if things don't change in this second half, it could be over. Again, that ball down the line here from Nicolas Razek. It's being so effective. Pele with space. Players having to track back into position. You can see Zidane and Hullet trying to marshal in front of those defenders. R9 turns back inside. Razek cannot beat the goalkeeper again.
I feel like that would have been the game as well. And I really feel like Razek has just learned so much about how Dossary plays in past FIFAs and the current FIFA. One of the best things about Dossary is how much he utilizes the offside trap and how much he can pressure you and he can make the men step up. He hasn't been able to do that as much because Razek keeps playing these through balls down the wing. So if Dossary were to risk going for that offside trap, Razek could be through on goal.
Yeah.
So Dossary, you're taking one of Dossary's best elements completely out of his game at times.
And I do wonder if this goes back to them being teammates last year. They're going to know each other's game so well, like you mentioned. And it looks like preparation-wise, Nicolas Razek is a far more prepared player for Dossary than Dossary is for Razek. Another goal here, and 3 goals with time disappearing for the Saudi Arabian to start a comeback. You feel this tie would be over. Nicolas Razek's going to be patient in his attacks now, make sure that he is creating the best opportunity, not just to win the game, but to put himself in a semi-final.
Yeah, he can wait for Dossary to pull that man out of position. He can pass it around his 2 central defensive midfielders. He only really needs to go forward when he does spot a gap. He can just hold the ball a little bit, start to chew away at some of this time.
Well, R9's in space here. Dossary with a huge chance! Game on. 4-3 now on aggregate. 1 goal the difference between the 2 players.
Yeah, that's early enough to get in the head of Razek as well. You could see he wanted to just eat away at the time a little bit. He wanted to pass that ball around. Dossary offered enough of a chance for him to play 1 pass. And Razek gave it away. And as soon as you do give the ball away in any situation, when you give Dossary an inch, he's going to take a mile.
So Nicolas Razek, having found himself in a fantastic position in this game, and maybe with an opportunity to have extended that lead, Dossary goes up the other end, brings this back to essentially 1-0. And there's one player you can never count out. It's one who has a world championship under his name, Carlos. Slides in here for Dossary, and you can just feel that we're about to see some of the best of the Saudi Arabians. 64 minutes on the clock in Eusebio. Dossary using him so effectively down the flank as well. Now you're going to see Neymar finding R9. Again, danger here. Oh, and you saw the Elastico there trying to beat the man. Still time here for Dossary.
He has queued up a pause here as well. Wants to change a couple of things up. Maybe a couple of fresh legs onto the pitch. That's going to be offside if the player had gone for it, but he spotted it out and just drew him back. And tell you what, give the ball to Dossary's keeper a little bit more. Maybe he'll make another mistake, because realistically, without mistakes, Dossary is ahead in this game.
Lovely little touch from Neymar there to get round the man. You can see Dossary's desperate for Neymar to make that run. Unfortunately, it didn't come, and with players committed up the pitch, it's a bit of a balancing act now for Nicolas Razek. Does he go forward? Go for the kill? Does he take time off the clock? Dossary comes in with a great challenge.
You do really need to find that in between, because if you go too forward and you keep looking for that goal and you make that mistake and you give the opportunity for your opponent to get back in, you're really going to kick yourself. And you could say the same if you get too defensive, you turtle up, you give them too much possession. But I like this. Win the ball back with your fullbacks and go for passes like that. If that pass had come off, that was the game. I like that from Razek.
Taking chances. Sometimes you have to find your way through these tough games against such incredible opponents. Now Razek is slowing it down a bit. You can see Dossary committing more men upfield, leaving them in those attacking positions, which means space will be in behind. You can see Leo Messi is making that run into some of that space ahead of Carlos Alberto, and here is the Argentine, but the linesman's flag has gone up. And that's going to slow that down. Dossary is going to have possession again. This is the last opportunity here. You can see Nicolas Razek's thought process here. You don't have to have us tell you what's going on here. Depth, drop back, everyone behind the ball. See this out, boys. Get us into a semi-final.
And ever since there was that patch for drop back where the title up changed it, whereby if you do have drop back set as your tactic and you lose the ball, the players won't apply the pressure that they once were. Instead, they all literally just stream back and then they'll get in the way of the ball. This allows the attacker, to have a little bit more time on the ball so they can actually theorize their attack a little bit. But it also means that you can't play this way and also win the ball back and get a counter-attack quickly and then win the game because of it. Nicolas Razek very much now is committing to, all right, I am seeing this game out with a 1-goal lead, and I will only go forward if you present me with the perfect, pristine opportunity.
And just a reminder as well, the winner of this game will go up against the winner of Fnatic Techs versus FUT Lyrics. What a game that is, a mouthwatering prospect in our other Xbox quarterfinal. For Dossary, he's got the ball at his feet. Can he create some magic on the sticks here? I'm sure the Saudi Arabian fans at home are desperate for him to do so, but what a tackle that is. Carlos Alberto, though, comes in and on the counter-attack here. Dossary had an opportunity, but another loose pass just gives possession back to Nicolas Razek. That ball down the line as well. You can see Roberto Carlos is struggling, and he does well.
And I think Dossary has to encourage these passes from him as well. You've got to leave space at the back now, because otherwise Razek will just hold on to the ball. Realistically, Dossary is only going to get one, maybe two more attacks as Vieira steps in. That's a huge tackle or a huge interception for Nicolas Razek. And now we're going to see the intentions of Razek show here.
And it's the fresh legs of Kylian Mbappe as well. Dossary pump faking that keeper out to see if he can bait him in. It will be a corner here, and Nicolas Razek will take that all day.
Didn't go into the corner. Instead, he went towards goal. However, now he's just going to try and play this one around and potentially keep it in the corner with Hullet. If you want anyone on the ball, probably Hullet with his physicality.
88 minutes on the clock. Nicolas Razek moments away from putting Dossary out of the tournament. But Carlos Alberto wins the ball back. And here comes Dossary, but he's just let the ball run.
It's pass after pass, just not quite getting there. And Razek putting players in the right place at the right time. And as long as you don't make a mistake, the game is yours, but the ball's back to Dasari.
Dasari has possession
No!
again, but can't find the man who was completely in behind Roberto Carlos. Ronaldo wins it. He puts it out of play, and Nicolas Razek will move into the Xbox semi-finals. What a performance from the German. And you could see just a look of relief on his face.
Ex-teammates there exchanging a handshake as well. But Dasari is going to go down the traditional route of trying to qualify for FUT Champions Cup Stage 3 because he will not be automatically invited back like Nicolas Razek will now he's got into that semi-final. And well, I think the last few stages of that game kind of said everything about Dasari's approach to that whole series. Just mistake after mistake, rushing the ball a little bit too much, not being able to play his kind of game. Was that because